Welcome to Sunbonnet Sue Part 2. Some people, when I explained how you make this block with heat and bond and ironing the pieces down and zigzagging around it, as you see she's zigzagged and ironed down, they said they would rather turn the edges under than have the edges raw and have to do the zigzag or the embroidery edge. So here is Part 2, how to do them with the turned edges. When you open your Sunbonnet Sue pattern, you still have the guides, the guide for the girl and the guide for the outline, and you have your directions on how to put the quilt together. We are making the 9-block quilt. What is different, instead of getting the templates to trace, this time you are getting the interface patterns, and you get 9, one for each block. 5 of them are left facing and 5 of them are right facing. And this is how you're going to make your 9 blocks with your interfacing pattern. We're going to make this block, and I'm going to take my Pellon pattern because she is right facing. I'm going to take the Pellon pattern that has right facing patterns on it, and I'm going to cut them apart. My scissors, and I cut around the pieces. You don't have to be very careful. We're just going to cut around the pieces. There's the hat. Shoe. And go in a minute. You notice that the shoe is open at the top. That's because the dress will cover it. And yet the arm is enclosed. That is because it will cover the hand. So you have to sew all the way around the arm. You're pinning your pattern on the right side so you can read the writing. And you know you are cutting a right-facing hat. Always work on the right side of the material with these Pellon patterns. You're always on the right side. To adjust your sewing machine to a small stitch, don't do a 2.5, go down to a 1.8 or something small so that you have a nice solid line. Now that you have sewn on the inside line around each of your pieces, we are going to turn the edges under. Remember I said we did not sew across the top like the foot. The foot is open. We have the Pellon sewn on the top. What we're going to do is we are going to trim around the outside here close to the line, about 1/8 of an inch from the line, and then we're going to turn it. So here I have my scissors and I am going to trim around the outside, and then we're going to flip it. We're going to reach inside, we're going to pull. Okay, there's our shoe. We're going to press that. We're going to flip all of our pieces. On the dress, when you get to the corner, so you get a nice crisp corner, you need to trim the edges on the corners. You have a point, they come to a point. Let's trim off the point. So when you turn it, you have a nice crisp edge. To turn the bonnet, because it's completely sewn, you have to be interfacing away from the fabric, like this. And you're going to have to make a slice to turn it, to open it up, to turn it. Make sure you don't catch the cloth, pull it totally away, and just cut the interfacing. Through that hole, you are then going to turn. Let's flip this inside out. Once you have all of your pieces turned under, then you take out the block, your 10 by 10.5 by 10.5 block that you have cut, and you put the guide on the block for placement. You take the little shoe and you put it in where the foot goes, and you take a pin and you pin it down. Now that I have the foot pinned on, I would get a needle with pink thread. You're right close to the edge, and you come up a little ways down, take a little tiny stitch, and then you go down and you come up, catch the edge, and you go down and you come up and catch the edge, and you do this around the foot to hold it in place. Okay, I've gone all the way around the shoe. Sometimes it's just me on the raw edge. I just do a simple across the very top of it to hold it right. I have my shoe on, so now I'm going to take my guide and I'm going to lay it down again. And I'm going to take my dress and put it over the shoe and fit it right into those little places right there. And pin it in place. And what I'm going to do is where I left off right down here, I'm going to come up right where I left off with my needle and thread, and I am going to applique around this skirt. Same thing. Okay, we have sewn down the skirt. And now we get the guide one more time. We put it back on the block, and we need to put on the bonnet. Now let's put the bonnet in the guide. Where it goes. Right there looks good, and we'll pin it in place. Pin them down good so they don't shift and you don't get any puckers while you're appliquing. Now that you've got the hat sewn down and the dress sewn down and the shoes sewn down, is she looking cute? Let's take the guide one more time and put it edge to edge on our, and put it on top. The hand goes in here, but before you sew the hand down, just put the arm on it and kind of get the two of them connected so they look really good. I'm going to pin the two together. I want these edges to line up, and sometimes you have to just move the arm around until you get it. You make the arm a little shorter if you need to make it a little shorter, the hand, to get it right where it needs to be. Pin the two together. I'd sew around the hand first and then around the arm and across the base. And there she is, all appliqued down. The pattern has instructions on the instruction sheet that tells you your yardage, and it also tells you what size to cut for your borders and for your sashing. An adorable little Sunbonnet Sue quilt.